Branching Out with Sierra. Today, we are having a conversation with the work-based learning coach for Winchester Public Schools, where I used to be employed as a teacher, actually 5th and 6th grades. I missed it sometimes, I have to admit, but I'm excited to have Sara Weinstein here today, and we're going to be talking about growing the next generation of talent. And I think that those of you that are listeners and different leaders in different places in your journey, I want to make sure that you don't tune out because you don't think it applies to you. This episode can definitely help you get more involved in that workforce development, know what's going on behind the scenes in our public schools to really support students and getting off on the right foot from the very beginning for that first hire. So thank you, Sara, for joining me today. I'm very excited to learn more about what you do. I've seen some of it in action, but I'm excited for the details today and to learn what leaders in our region and beyond can be doing in their communities to support growing talent. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
Of course, good. Okay, so of course they're going to want some background on where you've been, what you've been up to. So are you from this area?
I am, yes. I went to Frederick County Public Schools throughout my journey, graduated from Millbrook. And I have my degree in business administration and I started with the city school 6 years ago. I was an administrative assistant in the CTE department first. And then we created this role, I think this is year 5 now, the work-based learning coach. So it's a new position that came when we opened the Innovation Center.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I feel like it's an ideal position. You get to do all the fun things, in my mind.
I agree. The superintendent always jokes with me. He's like, "You have the best job in the division," and I'm like, "I sure do. I really do."
Yeah,
every day
I could see that.
Is great.
So you said CTE, and our listeners might not know what that is.
Yep.
So can I guess? I think it's career and technical education.
Yes.
Am I right? Okay.
Yes, career and technical education.
Okay. So 6 years now, how has that position changed in 6 years? When you're creating something from the start, you're making it up as you go. What does it look like now in comparison to before?
It's crazy, the growth that we've had. I mean, work-based learning's always existed in some way with, internships or cooperative education. But since I came along, we've brought in, tons of business partners to do different things in the school, career events, something we call artist in residence, where our business partners come in and teach a lesson to the classes instead of the normal teacher doing it. We have kids going out for a one-day job shadow. We have kids doing the long-term internships. So it's really grown in what our students are able to do.
That's awesome. Is it what you thought it would be from the beginning?
It is, but it's so much more too. Some of the relationships I've built with the community and our kids is something that will be with me forever. We were talking earlier about impact, and you never really know the impact until it's later on. And sometimes hearing from kids I've worked with in the past, 3 years later, and they remember things they did, it's fulfilling. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's special. I went to Hanley's graduation last year, just in the hopes of seeing, one or two kids that I, would remember. And it was amazing, the feeling of them running up and, "Oh my gosh, is that you?" Or the last time I saw you, you said you were out on bed rest. What's going on? I'm glad you're alive. Like, thanks. Appreciate that. But it is special to know that you've had an impact and they thank you for that. It's really cool.
Yeah, I went to dinner with a friend last week, and one of my students happened to be working at the restaurant we were at and made a point to come say hi to me. And my friend was like, "That was so cool," and just little things like that. It's fun. It's awesome.
Very cool. So you gave a little bit of a preview, a glimpse into the types of things that you guys do for workforce development. But let's dig a little deeper. Okay. Tell me a little bit about what it looks like on the school side. How do you start preparing these students for really their first position?
So all of our classes have what we call workplace readiness skills that they learn. So things like, showing up on time, attendance, integrity, ethics, collaboration, all of those things. They're learning in the class, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they're getting the technical skills they need. So, carpentry, welding, our medical classes. So they're, being supported by the teacher with those workplace readiness skills and me if we're working together, but also learning the hands-on skills that are going to help them, with whatever comes next.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, some of those things that you mentioned from the beginning, so important. Just showing up on time, right? I'm thinking back to being in the classroom, and we start teaching them the concept of time early, how to actually read an analog clock. I still think it's important.
Yes, you're right.
And it's funny because we have a 6-year-old at home, and we're trying to get him to understand the concept of being on time. We've got to leave. You've got to be at school on time. And adults don't always show up on time, right? And it can be so frustrating because you make a commitment. It's the integrity piece that you're talking about. You want to follow through on that commitment. If we've chosen a time, that's when we should be there. So I think it's so cool that you're basically ingraining that into them so early that they can understand the importance. And the people who haven't gone through these experiences, we're still seeing some of those behaviors. We have to coach on our end.
Right. And I think that's one of the great things that the Innovation Center helps with, is because we don't always have a set schedule that we follow there. So students not only, are kind of getting used to that, but they're also owning their own time. So if they know that they have a project due at a certain time, they have to set aside the time during the day to work on it so that they don't get behind. So, they're learning it in the classroom, but they're also teaching themselves essentially too, and kind of holding themselves accountable.
Yeah. That's a great skill set, or the concept of how much time something actually takes, because it tends to take more than we expect it to. So I love that they can take ownership of that early. Okay, so for people who aren't from our area, or maybe some that haven't seen it, you have to share about the Innovation Center, because I think it is so fun. I've taken a tour of it so many times, and I just wish that I had those experiences. I went through Hampshire County Public Schools. I don't know if you knew that about me.
I didn't.
So we certainly didn't have those experiences. So please share about the Innovation Center.
So it's the official name is the Emil and Grace Shahada Innovation Center, and it's open because of a $1 million donation from the Shawfeld and Shahada family. They're out of Northern Virginia, but they are very active with the Innovation Center and visit often. And not to mention the, millions of dollars from local business partners, local community members who helped us open the building. But we have 3 academies at the Innovation Center. We have a Advanced Technologies Academy, which houses like our information technologies classes. We have an electronics course with drones, technical drawing and design, architectural drawing and design, among others. We have a Health Sciences Academy, which houses our EMT, firefighting, nurse aid, PTOT, med lab programs. And then our third academy is our professional skills, or our traditional trades classes. We have carpentry, welding, materials and processes, and an electricity program. But we also have fundamental classes, so like materials and processes, intro to health sciences, kind of laying the foundation for classes they could take when they're older.
I love it. Yeah. I'm so impressed.
I failed to mention we have a video media technology program that we do podcasts on, and it leads our Judges TV, which is our morning announcement show.
Okay, that's fun. Yeah, I had no idea.
Yep.
Very cool. Lots of opportunities.
Yes.
So I truly have never understood this, so you can help me with it.
Okay.
If a student is going through Winchester Public Schools, how do they get the opportunity to get involved with the Innovation Center? Does every student have the option and opportunity to engage in some way, or what does that look like?
Yes, so our goal is to have 100% of students go through the Innovation Center at some point in their school career. As of last year, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I think as of last year, with that graduating class, we were over 70% of our students, had been through the Innovation Center in some capacity. So they sign up for the classes that we have, and get selected into those classes. The thing that's different about us with other schools that maybe do this similar to what we do is we offer English there. So not only are you taking carpentry, but you might be taking your English class, and we offer all levels of English. So, all the way from English 9 up to our AP classes. So, they really have the opportunity to find out the connection between those core classes and their CTE classes and how important they are together.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Thank you for clarifying that. So as a coach, tell me exactly what your role looks like and how you're involved, because I could see you being involved in all capacities.
Yes. Every day is different.
Okay.
So I like to think of myself as like bridging the gap between the student and their job, a business partner, a community member, whatever that might be.
Okay.
So, setting opportunities up, I have students seek me out, or sometimes they're recommended to me by a counselor. Sometimes I have business partners come to me and say, hey, I'm looking for this. Could you help me? And then it's a matter of just finding the right student. But every day, like I said, is different. So some days I might be in the workforce, checking up on my students or having meetings with business partners to develop what our relationship might look like. Sometimes I'm meeting with parents, with the students to kind of set up an internship, for example, for the year. And then sometimes I'm just leading field trips at career events, meeting with my counterparts in Frederick County. We work very closely together on opportunities. So,
wow.
I'm just all over.
Yeah, exactly. You wear a lot of hats.
I do. It's fun.
They are so blessed to have you. Wasn't there a movie done recently?
There was.
Based off of the Innovation Center? What is the name of that?
Multiple choice.
Multiple choice.
Yes.
I haven't seen it. I'm sure I should check it out.
You
Where
should.
can
It's
I
great.
find that?
So we're in the midst of live showings right now. So one has to be in the local area,
Okay.
but it's being shown all across the country. Our superintendent has traveled to a lot of places to show it. One of our students that's in the documentary traveled with the superintendent recently to a live showing. So the word's getting out there, and we feel it because we have a lot of folks asking to come take tours and to talk about what we do. So
That
it's
is
been really
wonderful.
great.
Congratulations. Can
It's
you
great.
give a little background on how did that even come to be?
Ted Dentersmith is the I want to say founder.
Okay.
He came and took a tour and saw what we were doing and said, people need to know about this. And I'll never forget, I was in that meeting, there were 8 of us maybe. And I remember him joking like, well, maybe I'll just do a documentary on this, because he had done it. And forgive me, I cannot remember what his documentary was called, but he talked about education, and we showed his documentary to our Innovation Center teachers when this was being formulated years ago.
Yeah.
And then he came, and I remember him saying, we'll just maybe do. And then within weeks, it was like things were happening. So,
He wasn't kidding.
no. And we've brought in, parents, students, current and past, to, lots of familiar faces, school board members, business partners, lots of people in the documentary. It's really great.
So if you were to describe like the mission of that documentary, is it to help other locations understand the concept and be able to create something similar in their area, or what was it specifically created to achieve?
I would say that, but also just showing the importance of CTE, career and technical education, and how it can be so lifelong and fulfilling for some students. We get into the college versus, not going to college kind of thing. And this documentary really hones in on how important, everybody's going to have a career, right? And the path is going to be different for everyone, and not one way is right. So embracing all of the paths and just getting our kids the experience and exposure to make a more informed decision before, they step out of our building.
That's brilliant. I love the idea. Well, I'll have to check it out.
Yes.
I'm very excited about
Definitely.
it. It made me think about, when I started the business, I wanted to be able to use what I had done in the past to provide the service I do today. And I wanted to stay connected to the youth in some capacity as well. And so when I first started it, I had some parents bringing students in that might be in high school, not sure where they want to go next, what they want to do, trying to figure out college versus a trade and so on. So I've had plenty of those conversations, but I'm curious for you, what does it look like in guiding these students and truly exploring all the different options, because it's endless opportunities and helping them to narrow their focus to know which direction to go? Because obviously I changed direction later in life, and people do it all the time. What does that process look like?
We try to start it as early as possible, right? So English, elementary school, we have a career event that we host there that really focuses, on bringing people in to talk to the kiddos, right? And then middle school, they have the opportunity to take some CTE classes, some introduction type classes. They're also building their academic and career plan in middle school, just to start thinking about things that they like to do. And then that helps guide them when they get to ninth grade and get to pick out their high school classes. But when they get to high school, we really focus on picking classes that mean something to you, that are intentional, but also trying to explore a little bit, because you don't know what you don't know, right? So that's the beauty of what I do with work-based learning is, I have a kid that I start working with in ninth grade that's like, I want to be a veterinarian or a doctor or, whatever it might be. We get them a shadow. They go spend 3 days there and quickly realize that wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And sometimes I joke that those are my favorite experiences, because they just learned something they don't want to do early on. And now, okay, let's switch paths and take a different class. So career events are huge too. One of our biggest events is our speed networking event, and we bring in about 30 business partners, and the students that sign up are required to go to every table. So think speed dating, right? And they start with one table. They have 4 minutes of the business partner telling them who they are, what they do. Buzzer rings, they move on to the next table. So that one's kind of like exploration quickly, so they kind of get a vision of what's out there. But, just our business partners coming in and talking to students and leading lessons can be so impactful, and maybe change their trajectory of what they thought they might have been doing.
That's awesome. There's so many different opportunities. You don't know which one's going to help that student, and things really click into place for them. I remember at Hampshire, I did actually think I wanted to be a nurse for like this long. And I thought it was really cool because I got to go to a separate building, and it was my first like nursing class. And we had this freedom that other students didn't have until I had to see blood for the first time, blood and needles. And I was like, nope, not for me. Back to education. Now I for sure know this is what I want to do. So those can be really meaningful experiences that stick with you. It is hard to determine what direction to go. What was your journey in finding your way to being the coach that you are?
My journey was not right to college. I knew after I graduated that I wasn't in a place to take it serious, honestly, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I just got to work. I worked in retail and food service for a while. My journey took me elsewhere, and I came back. I spent about 9 years in the finance industry, and realized that was great, but I still wasn't doing something meaningful. I wanted to do more. The administrative position opened up for the CTE department, and I was just like, well, let's see what happens. I mean, I have this background, and I honestly was lucky. I am very lucky, tons of applicants, and I got an interview and got the job as the administrative assistant. So I have a unique experience because I was already immersed in CTE by supporting Katie Lockhart, my boss. I was the one ordering all the equipment for the Innovation Center. I got to bring in the business partners to see the space. So I was already building those connections. So when the building opened and this position came up, I was like, I'd finished my degree. Like, I think I can do that. Like, I can talk to people, like the business, community. I was already active in things, and students, I just, I have a way, I enjoy building rapport, and here we are,
And here
5 years later. It's crazy.
And you can't see yourself doing anything else. Yeah.
No,
it's so cool when you finally feel truly fulfilled and look forward to what you do every day.
I do.
For sure. So I have to tell you something funny. In trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I always struggled with it too. And I used to have conversations at the elementary level with my students. We'd say we were going to talk about life. When I'd pull up that chair and we'd sit down and have the real conversations, they loved that. But I had shared with them that I just love learning so much that I want to like do every job that you can do for like a day. I just want to experience it all. So when I'm out and about and I see someone, whatever their role might be, I'm like, wonder what it's like to be in that role. So I had shared with my students, do you know Mike Rowe's Dirty Jobs?
Yes.
Do you know that show? I wanted to be his female counterpart. I wanted to go out and experience all of those. So all of my elementary students literally wrote a letter to the Discovery Channel saying that they should consider having a female Mike Rowe to go out and experience all the jobs so I could learn as much as I could and come back and share it with them. It was the coolest thing. They didn't get back to me.
Oh, missed
Fail.
Opportunity. Missed opportunity.
Right? It's never too late.
Yeah.
But that's kind of my mindset. Even in my business now, I'm working with so many types of organizations. I'm learning all of their industries, which is so fun. So I'm just doing it in a different way.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing, when I get to go take tours, or, I'm meeting with business partners to talk about how our partnership could look, or, taking our students on site places, and the light bulb that goes off with some students, and even myself, when you're like, who knew this even existed right here? Like, I went to recently the pasta plant over off of Baker Lane, I think somewhere over there.
I didn't even know there was a pasta plant.
Right? And it's a milling facility. It was incredible, and it's just being able to, like we talked earlier, if it just one kid is like, man, that's cool, I could do that.
Yeah, then it's worth
great.
it.
It is.
So tell me more about some of these business partnerships. I would love it if you could highlight a couple and talk about the types of things that you do, what it could look like, because a lot of our listeners are business owners and might choose to get involved in some capacity. So can you share a little more about that?
Sure. So it really starts from, having a meeting and talking about what they're comfortable taking on and what we can offer too. So every partnership looks completely different.
Okay.
Sometimes we only have business partners that can come in and talk to students, and participate in our career events. Some can do those one-day job shadow opportunities where, they have the students come in and pair them with someone in the facility to learn about a day in the life.
Okay.
And then we have extended experiences with, Valley Health every year hires some of our nurse aid students to be co-op students, and they are, after they complete their CNA program, they are certified nurse assistant program. They are hired on as employees at Valley Health and work the entire school year as part of their school day. Navy Federal has been an incredible partnership too, all the way from all of our career events they show up to doing mentorship programs with students. Tri-State Nissan, Marlowe Motors. All I have to do is pick up the phone and Ed or Emily say, we're in. They come to us for our adulting program that we do every year, and, work with kids on basic car checks and tire pressure or, leaking oil, things like that. Yeah. So every partnership is tailored to what works best for them. And it could be big or small. That's the amazing thing is, we're a small enough division, we only have the one high school, so we can really be flexible and, be able to tailor it to make it work for everyone.
Yeah. Very cool. great partnerships. All of those businesses are very well known in the community, have a good reputation. So great to get involved.
So many others.
Yes,
so many others.
I know you can't highlight them all. She hasn't forgotten you.
No.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
So let's talk about impact, because we have to have some good success stories, right? You know, kids are coming up to you when you're out and about.
Yeah.
What have you seen? What's a good success story?
Um,
I'm totally putting you on the spot. I know.
No, it's it's we have a young man who's actually in our documentary that I started working with from, I want to say, when he was a ninth grader, and he took part in our carpentry programs, and we kind of built a relationship, and he wanted to kind of get out there and see what he might be able to do with the skills he was learning. He stood out in class, and he was always going the extra mile, and was very good at his skills, right? So we set him up with a job shadow at a local place here, and that was a job shadow that he came back and was like, I love what they do, but I don't love it for me. I want to do something more custom. I want to be more hands-on and have a little bit more of a say in it, right?
Okay.
So we switched gears. Found another local business partner, and that was a brand new partnership to us. I'm going to shout them out, Byler & Co. Construction, their home builder.
Okay.
And he went and shadowed there and was like, this is awesome. This is great. So his 11th grade year, he was hired on for senior year as a 12th grader. He was hired on as an intern. So he started riding around, and he would work after school and things like that. After he graduated, he was hired on full time, received a company vehicle, really, just stood out. And he's completing some things at Laurel Ridge with Byler & Co.'s help. And he, we still check in with him. He recently got engaged.
Aww.
And it's like,
wow,
it's crazy.
That is amazing.
He's great. He's doing great. And, you wouldn't have been able to do it without business partners that are willing to take a chance on our students and able to see their worth and see their skills.
Yeah. What a great story. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So what do you wish more business owners would understand about the importance of what you're doing and these partnerships?
Sometimes, we talk about, not that they're intimidated to do these things, but there's a lot of moving parts when you're taking on a student that might be 16 or 17 years old. And, something we try to help is, that's where I come in, right? So I'm kind of the middle person between the student and the business partner. And we have to rely on each other. So there might be things where I have to go back and coach the student on, and that's a work on. Yeah. But you're never left alone, right? So we're checking in with one another. We're rerouting a student if we need to, and working together on developing that student and developing the partnership. But, I try to tell our partners, like, think of yourself as like micro training, right? So if you're just teaching them these little things that are maybe not important anymore to you because you do it every day, right?
Yeah.
But you're teaching someone else and they're learning these things, you're building the future workforce, whether they stay with you or they go away to college, maybe they come back, it's take every opportunity and, just showing our students what's out there.
Yeah. I love that advice. I have to share, in a lot of the organizations that I'm in, we talk about the different generations and the changes that are going on, and we have 5 generations in the workforce right now. So lots of differences between them. And sometimes our youngest ones kind of have a bad reputation, and I have to have workshops and trainings to help them see the strengths that they're bringing to the table and understand how to better connect with them. So I'm also curious what you would share about the importance of giving them a chance and giving them the time, even if it's not a placement that you've made and they have your support, right? Let's just say a business owner is listening to this and they've hired someone and they thought, okay, I'm going to train them while they're young and help support them. But then they're getting frustrated because people aren't connecting with them and they're just not wired the same way.
Yeah.
What kind of words of inspiration could you provide that might help them to see the actual value of that experience?
Well, it's easy to say be patient, right? You know?
Yeah.
But our kids, the kids that I work with, the kids at Hanley want to be seen. They want to do the right thing. They want to be the best at what they do. They just need someone to take a chance on them and believe in them. And not every kid's going to do perfectly, right? You know, that's where the guidance, the guidance comes in and the structure. But try to refocus your own thinking, you know, before you go into something, and not just see the negative right away, you know. Focus on coaching up and training that person to the best that you can. I think just, you know, they want to do well, and just giving them that chance and being as patient as possible is, you know, a good starting point.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. Giving them a chance, giving it time. And it does take some rewiring, especially the people that have been in the organization 15, 20 years, and this is the way we've always done it. And then we have younger folks coming in, and they want to use technology more. They want to use AI, and people are resistant to it. So you said they want to be understood. They want to be accepted. What else do we need to know about this generation?
They do need... you know, you brought up cell phones and technology. You know, that's been something that's been a huge work on, is appropriate use of technology, cell phones and things. But, you know, kind of taking a step back, and you're right, this is a brand new generation, and there are going to be some challenges, but, you know, we've got to do our best to train them the appropriate way, but also have an open mind. I mean, if you just take the time to get to know the students that are in our area, I promise you they will rise to the occasion and they will do great things. It's just a matter of, for me, work-based learning has given a voice to a lot of our students. And I mean that by, you know, they're given the opportunity to go work in somewhere, or even just doing the one-day opportunity that they might not have ever been given the chance to do that, you know? So it's brand new to them. And some of our kids, both us, you know, and the surrounding counties, this is the first time they've ever done something like this. So give a little grace and, you know, a little bit of patience. I think trying to connect with them in some way too, you know, using the lingo that they use these days, you know, but, you know, trying to connect with them I've seen great results from that too. Just, you know, it's intimidating even for me walking into somewhere, you know, I've been doing this a while, but, you know, knowing that this is brand new to them too, and trying to have a little grace, you know, for them. They're learning.
If you take the time to build the relationship, you understand where they're coming from, right? It's their experiences that have led to who they are. Just like when we started our first job, we had a series of experiences that led to kind of the way that we approached that first position. So yeah, I completely agree with you. It's really the same message that I'm trying to share when I'm out and about, and really force people to slow down and think, okay, they're different, but what value do they bring that you've not had in your organization before, and where can you be tapping into that? And then we also need to, you know, have the same conversation with the students, that as they're entering, who should they be connecting with that has valuable information, right? That they can be learning, and that experience that they could, you know, really could use the mentorship.
Right.
So it's funny when you're like, use the lingo immediately. Guess what I thought of?
6, 7.
You know it.
I do. My 3-year-old is already.
Caleb thinks it's a bad word. He's like, he doesn't think he's allowed to say it. It's funny. So if we're like doing something and it naturally shows up, or like the size of his clothes right now are 6'7". So anytime he'll be like, oh, like, I can't believe you said that. And then Matt's family's like, what does it even mean? Is it bad? Like, it has no meaning.
It means nothing.
It truly means nothing. We just...
One of those things.
Yeah. So reach out to Sarah for the lingo if
Yep.
you're trying to
I'll do my best. I'll do my best.
No, but thank you for sharing that perspective because I do think, business owners, whether partners of the school system or not, need to hear that and not immediately rule a candidate out because of what generation they're from as well. I see a lot of that happening. So we got to fight for them a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, so what is it that you wanted to share about the Innovation Center that you haven't been able to so far?
If you're interested in learning more about what we do tours all the time. So I would love to have you, if you're interested. And this is another thing of, come see what our kids are doing, right? I can take you around the building and you can see for yourself the things that they're doing and learning. You can talk to them. You can talk to our teachers. Come check us out and see the things we're doing. We try to be as active on social media as possible. And we have a showcase every year that we invite the community to take a walk around the building and see projects our students have worked on throughout the year. So just come take a look at the things that are happening with us and at Hanley. We're the same school and there's amazing things going on down at Hanley too. So if I can give you anything, just come take a look and see for yourself.
Awesome. I agree. I will visit as much as possible too. Like I said, I've been there a couple of times and I'm just blown away. Really want to experience it all myself. Yeah. So, all right, we're going to switch segments here for a few minutes. So one of the things that we do is we ask for challenges to be submitted by our listeners. We call it Leadership Unscripted. So we received a challenge today that you and I are going to talk through and see if we can maybe support this listener. Okay. So if you want to reference it, I have it in front of you too. But this is what we have today. This person says, I go out of my way to celebrate and recognize others, but I rarely get acknowledgement in return. I know leaders shouldn't lead for praise, but sometimes it's discouraging. How do I stay motivated? And I'm sure we've all kind of been there at some point. I think I said before the show, you are so good at bringing like positive energy to any situation, and I'm sure give lots of praise in what you do. Have you actually experienced this before?
I have. I naturally, you want to hear you're doing a good job, right? And I love being able to tell other people. But I had a relationship where I could go to my boss and say, or, when you're in that review kind of thing of what's going well, what's not, if you feel comfortable bringing it up. And that's the way that, you stay motivated sometimes is by hearing those things. So,
yeah.
But yeah, I've been there and it can be tough.
Well, I like that you said that. You don't necessarily have to ask for the recognition. You're asking for feedback. And if it's positive feedback, that is recognition, right?
Absolutely.
Or you're opening the door for feedback that you weren't expecting.
Yep.
And maybe there are some blind spots. So I love the idea if you do feel comfortable enough to share what you're looking for. I think that's great. But I couldn't help but think about separating impact from recognition. It's like what you and I talked about wanting to impact one child, right? Or one person, going back to the why behind what you do and not allowing recognition or lack thereof to get in the way of you remembering the impact that you're having.
One thing that I'll say is my boss, Miss Hawkins at the Innovation Center, she told me when I first got started, I was having maybe a rough day, and she said, create a good job folder. I'm like, what does that mean? She's like, if you get an email from a student or a parent or a business partner, whoever, save it to your good job folder. And when you're having those times of you're feeling discouraged or not appreciated or whatever it might be, you're just having a bad day, go to your good job folder and just pick out one. And so that's something that, I forgot about it until now.
There you go.
When pulling the why back into things is really important.
I think that's a great idea. I don't know where I came up with it. Maybe someone told me at some point, but I do have a folder. It's called Personal Notes, and I do go back to it often, and you kind of forget how many you've received. That's a great idea. Maybe there's a little tip for some listeners there. So hopefully that's helpful. When the specific question was, how do I stay motivated? So, I mean, just exploring for this individual, what does motivate them to begin with? Is it the impact? Is it truly hearing you're doing a good job? It's kind of like the love languages, right?
Right.
What is that thing that motivates you most? Reflecting on that. I asked one of my clients recently, all the individuals, to write down their top 3 motivators. And it was cool for them to sit down and really think through that, because I don't think they had for a while, and realizing what was driving their decisions and making them want to come to work every day. So maybe just sitting down and doing a reflection of what actually motivates me and keeps me going, not necessarily just based on what other people are saying. Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. So hopefully that's helpful to this listener. I feel like we just scratched the surface, but feel free to write back in if you need additional support. Another segment that we do is Leadership in the Wild. So each week we identify one person or a group of people that we want to acknowledge for something that they're doing, their leadership. Maybe it's the way they lead themselves or they're leading others. Who would you like to highlight?
So my boss, I have one, but our assistant principal I kind of report to too. But Katie Lockhart, she's the CTE coordinator for Winchester Public Schools. Joe Hawkins is the assistant principal at Hanley that supports the Innovation Center. But I've never met 2 people who really put our students at the center of everything like they do. Every decision, every thought before a decision, they're thinking about the big picture and the impact. And both of them have a way of, not every aspect of their job is pleasant, or glamorous.
Yeah,
they have to do the tough things, but they have a way of, being able to make it not so bad, if that makes sense, and I hope to be a leader like that, someday, that if I have to deliver bad news or do something that's not going to make everyone happy, but I can focus on what the big picture is and the end game and the impact. Both of them do that so well, and they're just warm people, and they're really, really good people to have in the school division looking after our kids. It's great. They're wonderful.
Awesome to hear, and modeling it for everyone else in the school system too. So great. I'm cheating on this one because I just want to say educators in general.
Agreed.
Because having seen behind the scenes for 10 years and then kind of pivoting, when I first left education, I felt like I was throwing my degree away. I was like, why did I get my master's? Why did I do 10 years in education? I'm having to pivot. I'm not going to be able to use it. And then I realized that the skill set that educators have is truly remarkable and allows them to really pick up anywhere. I had several people reach out to me when I started the business and say, hey, I'm thinking about leaving education, but like, what can we do? And I questioned that for so long, but I realized educators can kind of do everything. And the passion that they bring for our students and the impact that they're having on a regular basis. And I know the difficult things that educators go through on a regular basis and having to make hard decisions, always wanting to do what's best for kids, even when sometimes it feels like it's outside of their control. Like you can only do so much from the classroom, right? Yeah. So I just want to acknowledge all educators and you specifically as well. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you to all the educators for pushing through despite it being very challenging. Yeah. We need good educators to stay where they are and not leave the industry. Students need them right now, need you right now. So thank you. Thanks for being great leaders and modeling that for our students.
Thank you.
Well, I want to wrap up today's episode. We always end with a branching out challenge. And that is your opportunity to challenge our listeners to do something based on what they've heard today. So what do you want to challenge the listeners to do with today's information?
Take a chance. Do something that, maybe you didn't think that you would be interested in or even want to attempt to try, I'm an open door, and I'm happy to have a conversation about what a partnership with the schools could look like, whether it's us or Frederick County. They're doing so many amazing things there too. So come in and take a tour, see what we're doing, see what our kids are doing, and then take a chance on some of our students.
That's great. And if they don't have something like this in their area, because we have listeners all over the place, what could they use from today's conversation in their community?
I mean, work-based learning is taking off. So I feel confident in saying, you know, there's something happening everywhere similar to what we're doing. So just reach out to, you know, a CTE department or a administrator of a building, you know, just to have a conversation and learn about what's happening in your local community. Because I guarantee you there's something, even if it's small, there's something happening that's getting students' workforce ready.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate it. I appreciate all that you do. You're always welcome to come back. So if you think of anything else you want to share, you're welcome to come back. But thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Of course.
Thanks.
And thank you for sticking through to the end of the episode. I hope you found value. I hope that you'll do what she said and take a chance, whether it be take a chance in working with the school system and getting to know some of these students and helping them get started out on the right foot. Or maybe it's even taking a chance in yourself and realizing that you want to try something new and you want to explore a different career. It's not too late for that. Mark Kelly did it. I have to do a shout out for that. Our well-seasoned participant from before. This is how I see if Mark Kelly still listens. I always have to insert that in there. He changed directions late in life. Okay. So thank you again. We release a new episode every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to subscribe so you're getting those notifications. Of course, we're looking for some sponsorships going into the new year. So if you feel like you would like to have a partnership with Branching Out with Sierra and discuss those opportunities, please shoot us a message at info@branchingoutpodcast.com. We'd love to have you involved. Or you can also shoot us a message with any challenges you might be facing when it comes to leading yourself or leading others, because we'd love to support you. Until next time, keep branching out.